Boom.
Yeah,
Back
man.
in it.
Yeah, back up in that thing. But
Yeah,
no, I was just asking, how
here,
are you
it's
though?
clean.
How you doing with your clean hat and your out here stylistic?
That cost
Trent,
literally $1.
Trent, yeah, Trent the stylistic out here.
Hey, you gotta do what you gotta do. Film fashion calls, right? I'm all right, man. I've just been running around a lot today and socializing. So
I feel you, but
yeah,
it's necessary for what you're doing, right?
100%, 100%.
Sorry, bro. I'm out here
Oh,
just taking a drink of water and shit, same as you. But yeah, man. I don't know. I like the fact that we're taking steps and like trying to like grow and step out of our comfort zone, so to speak. Stepping out of our comfort zone, so to speak, and like I think it's all necessary, bro. I think it's all necessary, all part of the process.
Oh, definitely. It's like we're saying, it's just about doing cool shit. As far as I'm concerned, it's just like we can just sit around and just do the same old, or we can go out and try and do some cool stuff and just make it happen, sort of thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah, 100%. It's like, and it's dope. Like, it's even better if you're like doing things like that, like finding things you're interested in, and then trying to like maximize on those things versus like, yeah, you might find yourself doing something that's out of your comfort zone or helping you grow, but it might not have been of interest. And you're just like, at that point, it's like you might just be wasting your time. But it's dope that you have an interest in what you're doing in the event, you know, like, and
You
much
have
success
to.
to you, bro.
Otherwise, you wouldn't do this stuff, frankly. It's all for the
Yeah.
love of the game. And like I said before, like I said in the last thing, it's all about uplifting. It's not just about like doing this for anything other than that, just uplifting my friends and helping them to get to the next level if I can do that.
I think with the proper planning and step taking, you'll get there, man. And it's like that's all it is though. Like it's just the one step in front of the other, right? Like you this being like an introduction, so to speak, as far as you trying to, whether it's put on an event or plan something bigger than oneself, or you know what I mean. And it's dope, especially if you're working with a good collective, right?
Yeah, I definitely am. I can't say for now about it, but yeah, right now it's just me and Alex on this end right now, just like putting it out here. Like we communicate with them, but they're not here. You know what I mean?
I understand.
So.
I mean, that's okay. I mean, communication is still key, and as long as you have like a stream of communication with that person, with that
it's no complaints with it. It's just like it's a different kind of thing. Like if it was like putting it on with locals, you know, sort of thing, that would be different. But it's from people that are out of town. Some people have never even been to this place before, so it's different.
Well, hey, and it's dope. Like thinking about it from a standpoint of people who might not be familiar with like whether it's that type of like wrestling or combat sports where it's like more or less real, like in context of like entertainment, right? Like people like, oh, like they're faking it or whatever, and then it's like, nah, bro, there are people who are going above and beyond to thrill you. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know, like if you can like give anyone a little
put
insight.
It the best way there. They're going above and beyond to thrill you for your mere entertainment dollar, basically. Like if you really, really want to help, you know, buy a shirt or whatever too as well. Not only like do that, cheer, yell loud, and come out for the event, but like, you know, buy a shirt. There is something I saw. It was for like it was in context of the band, but it still works in the same regard for this. Like buying a shirt, like a band shirt, will like give that like $20 or so out of your pocket, but that's like a couple like kilometers of gas and whatever else for them, so they can get further down the road to the next show, sort of thing. Or it was something along those lines, but it always stuck with me. It was just like, yeah, that's something like cool. I got a shirt from this cool show, and like this band's awesome, and like all that. But for them, it's like this literally like was the difference between like me eating tonight with like what all like expenses and what that, or you know, me just like having to bum it out sort of thing. I know I've not like personally had those situations, but I know those situations are a thing. But I don't know, man. Like you said, it's just like the thrill of it is the big part of it. Like not only just like me, but like definitely the people putting it on, like definitely the wrestlers too. Like they love to do this stuff, and it's for the thrill. Like for the thrill of it, yeah, is one thing, but it's for, like I said, for the love of the game as well too.
Salute to the people who are doing what they love, despite, like you were mentioning before. And it's not about putting anyone's business out there, because we all can be in a situation where we're just trying to build, and we might be living day to day, we might be living paycheck to paycheck, we might be living month to month, however you want to view it. But to be able to still persevere and like go and have like a dope ass situation where you feel like you're putting something like something good into the world, whether it makes you feel good, it's therapeutic, even though it's literally you doing some type of like stunts and like smashing your head against somebody else's head or whatever the case is. But it's like, I
Whatever
don't know, man,
works.
like just kind of putting it into like whatever it is we do, like whether it's just this being like a startup situation for you, and then eventually you're like, you know what, I kind of like this stuff. Let me try to go into promoting and starting and building up my own events more often now. Or even if it's a situation of eventually, if it's a matter of you assisting me as far as putting on a show for the people, so to speak, where it's like we bring wrestling and art and music and all types of shit and collaborate all that shit together. You never know what the future holds. But what I'm saying is finding those things that you love and like putting your time into them, and like not having to well, getting to a point where you don't have to worry about it being a paycheck to paycheck thing. Like you might be having like a big ass, you know what I mean? Like you might just, the payoff
That's
might
the
be
dream.
a big situation, right?
Like,
And even though it's not about the money, because they're obviously doing it because they love it, but yeah, man, like I'm just saying, it's dope that one's finding these things and like capitalizing on it and just maximizing the opportunities, you know.
and literally that's I was able to make it happen, so I'm just glad to be able to make it happen. You know what I mean? Like not only be able to like just to walk the talk, you know, and not just talk shit about like, oh, I could put an event on sort of thing. It's like, no, now we're actually doing this sort of thing. So it's like, I don't know. It's one thing. It's one thing to talk about it and make all the plans in the world about doing things, and then it's another thing to actually go through with those plans.
Yeah, the execution is everything, man. Like that's probably the most important part of the process, so to speak. Because yeah, your planning is super important. You have to make sure you're writing things down, and sometimes you might just be winging it. Like whether it's a conversation, whether it's a project, or you might be winging it to a degree where you have some knowledge, like there's some information that you sought out before jumping into it. But at the same time, it's like you might not be stressing that process, but the execution is the most important part, bro. It's like, in my opinion, and it's just taking care of business by any means necessary, doing whatever it takes, and not in the sense of stabbing people in the back or whatever, like, but I mean within your means, whatever it takes to accomplish it.
Exactly.
That's commendable, bro. It's like, I mean, and I'm on the same. We got to be on the same path, and people who are growing, like that shit's amazing. To anybody out there who's growing, keep growing, even if it's in baby steps, small increments. Keep growing, because people, doesn't matter who's watching you, looking at you, whatever the case is, you got to be doing these things for you, my friends.
That's it. That's really it. Like it doesn't like in some respects, like with like having people come out to things and like tickets wise, yeah, it makes nice to have people a lot of people watching you. But at the same time, if you're trying to grow for you, like that's you're not going to change unless it's for you. Like, pardon me. When it comes down to like addiction and stuff like that, you're never going to get clean. You're never going to do that unless you do it for you. And that's what they'll tell you every time at like NA or AA or anything like that. And you could be I'm going to do this for my family. No. You got to do this for you. You can't want to do this. That's the only way it's going to stick, sort of thing. And that's the consistency of what I've seen with something. And it's the same with like we said, building for like growing for us and sort of like getting to the next level. You have to want to do it for you.
Yeah, man. And like sometimes that's the most difficult part as well, because it's like if you don't have I don't want to say don't have a reason, but it's like if you don't feel like you're enough, so to speak, you might. That's when the whole doing it for you process is the hardest, right? Because you're thinking to yourself, oh, I don't really matter, so I don't really care. But I'm going to try to do it for my mom, or I'm going to try to do it for my dad, or whatever. And then unfortunately, that's when you fail, or whatever, like you were saying before, which leads to that's why you got to do it for you. But it just sucks because a lot of people are in that process where they gotta get over that hump and start to feel like, yo, man, I do matter. Okay, let me take these baby steps. Let me start growing slowly but surely. And it's just, if you're able to grow, man, if you have that capability, that's what's up. If you're able to slowly but surely build up your self-worth and not let anybody diminish that, bro, salute to you. Because it's like, I feel like sometimes people might already be cool mentally, bro, and they might look at other people with the mentality like, what? Such and such want to harm themselves? That's wild, bro. Or what? Such and such want to do X, Y, and Z? That's weak, bro. I would never do that. Or what? And like they just have like little kind of judgments or whatever, right? And it's because there's so many different people on the planet, bro. That's where the whole nuance of life is, right? You can't really expect everyone to react the same way, right? Or think the same way, right? I don't know.
It's different, man. Like the only advice I can give with this is, especially when it comes to like your self-worth, is finding out what like really means to you, like the things that mean to you, not like I don't, that's it's such a vague description of that, but like literally like the things that actually are important like to you, then anything else can go away. But if these things aren't in your life, then life's not your life, you know what I mean? Is when you find those things and then you build a wall around those things, it's going to be it just makes it just makes so much, like gives you so much more like sense of worth. And as long as you keep like working at those things, but like it's a good foundation to start with. Sorry, I'm all over the place. It's a really good foundation to start with once you have like, you know, what you really want out of things, like you really like have meaning towards things, and if these things like give you like joy basically and all that. Once you know what that is and you know where you're going to build from off of that, you go from there. Really, that's how I found my self-worth. Like I found where the things that matter to me, like family and all that, one thing, yeah, but like my friends as well, like just not only just like that, but like things like to yourself, like reading and like hobbies and things like that, but like things that actually give you like meaning, you know what I mean? It's, I don't know, that's the only way I can describe it. It's just once you have those things there, it's just you build a wall around it, and it just, that's how you start like realizing like, oh, certain things don't matter, like some material things don't matter, oh, some other people's opinions, they just don't matter, because these are the things that matter to me.
Yeah, man, and that's super important. That's super important. Like, but all, like even to add on to that, I guess the way that or maybe it's a little bit of a different perspective, but the way that I was building up self worth, sorry, is like through certain acts of service, I guess, in certain regards, like even if it's just like a conversation making, like whether it's like if I'm going to work or if it's somebody who I might be familiar with from around the neighborhood or whatever, having a certain conversation that might be a little bit more uplifting, or if a conversation is ever sparked and it's not really from a stand, like we're not really, it's not all about positivity, but we start at a situation and we end on a good note where it's like, yo, man, I'm really glad I got to talk to you. Or if it's a woman, like, hey, you know what I mean? Like, hopefully we can see each other again, da, da, da. And you leave on a good, extremely good note, so that at least whatever they go into next in the world, whether it's another interaction with a person or like just a job or interview or whatever, because you don't necessarily know what everyone else is going to be going throughout the day, but at least when they leave you, it's a positive encounter. That's kind of how I've been developing certain self-worth in a certain regard, like, because you can't really do anything for anybody other than kind of be of service in a way. Granted, I'm not talking about necessarily, I mean, some people might take this approach of getting on their hands and knees and be of service, and those people are different. Like, well, I mean, don't get me wrong, you might have like a negative view towards something like that, but other people might be like the people who are really the ones who are literally willing to give the shirt off their back to another person is the ones I'm talking about. Though, like, well, somebody might look at it from a sign of weakness. It's just certain servitude or whatever. Like, that's, I guess, a way how one can uplift them, like, build up their self-worth, so to speak, adding on to.
It's like it's doing things for like people who, like you said, would do that. It's like people who reciprocate that energy if you put that energy out there for you. And I agree. I 100% agree with all that. Like right there, like it's not about being on your hands and knees and begging, like hands and knees and like, what can I do for you, sort of thing, like to anybody. No, it's about doing it to those people, like the people who would reciprocate that energy to you and people that matter to you.
Yeah, man. Like, not being taken advantage of, but at the same time, like, a part of it is that, though, right? Like, a part of it is being quote unquote vulnerable, because that's what, even to the point of you saying like not being someone on their hands and knees, and it's not about being on your hands and knees as far as to anybody like who doesn't deserve it. It's more, yeah, it's more the people, I guess, who deserve it, so to speak, or who will reciprocate that energy or pay it forward, so to speak, even if it's not directly to you that they give that good energy to. Because, yeah, man, like, again, leaving, but in turn it's kind of like the same, where it's like having somebody in your encounter be a good situation as you guys depart from each other, so that whatever they head into next, hopefully they have like a quote unquote good mindset, like, yo, man, I'm glad I got to see Trent, or I'm glad I got to see Graham, or I'm glad I got to see such and such. And then hopefully they don't do some nonsense that they might have been thinking to do, if they were thinking to do that before you encountered them. I don't know, bro. I'm just trying to approach it like differently, attack like differently. Because if we're talking about self-worth, or we're talking about anything that's kind of like the intangibles, things that, like, because again, it's like, yeah, so someone might be making more money than you, or somebody might be stronger than you, or somebody might be taller than you, or whatever, right? But it's like, what are you doing that's assisting the world or making it quote unquote better, or assisting your world and making your world better? What are you doing for, like, to that? Because if you're not doing anything to add to your world or help it grow, or assist it as far as moving forward or elevating, what you're kind of moving backwards slash wasting time slash, you know what I mean? It's not about judgment. It's just, it's what it is. Because there's a saying where it's like, anything that's not growing is dead. I'm not trying to die inside young and then have a long life where I'm just, you know what I mean? I can't do that. I can't afford to live that way. So.
I agree, man. That's just, at that point, you're just existing and just here. Like, you're not really doing anything. Like, it's one thing contributing, but like you said, like, what are you doing? Like, you're just here taking up time and you're not growing.
That's why it's like, that's why I was saying, like, it's not about judgment, because it's not about saying, yo, you're wasting your life. Again, because we're talking about the same people who might be in a situation, a vicious cycle where they're just, or a depressing situation. So it's not, that's why I say it's not about judgment, but it's like, it sucks because one is not even able to kind of get out of the funk, so to speak, or get out of the, you know what I mean, dark mindset, so to speak. And it's like, oh man. But at the same time, it's not about being harsh or thinking a harsh way, but it's like, at the same time, sometimes you can't really save everybody. And it's not about being a hero, because I'm not saying I'm a hero in any
No,
way.
you can't save it. You can't save everybody. You can only save yourself and those like closest to you, if possible. Like, and if those, like, if it's a situation where you actually can reach out and save everybody, yeah, but you can't have that Superman complex or the Messiah complex. That's what it's called.
Yeah, and even that, like, sometimes I catch myself, bro, because I feel like sometimes one has that kind of mentality, like, oh, it's on me to do this, or it's on me to do that. In some cases, it is, because if it's dire times, or if somebody really needs assistance, and for some reason, unfortunately, they're too proud to ask, sometimes you got to step in there and cape on your back and just save the day. And though it's like, there's no, I mean, in context, there's the thank you, but there's no like real because there's no real, like, but that's the intangible shit where it's like, I'm doing this because I know that it's the right thing to do. And it's not about, oh, somebody's going to say, yo, Graham, that was G shit that you just did. It's not about that. It's more about saying, okay, I need to assist this person because they need it. It's just that simple. And I got it to assist them with. You know what I mean? So it's sometimes real ones got there is no big ass bouquet of flowers or big ass group of people standing ovation or big ass whatever you think is the proper trophy for good deeds or you being the best you. But that still doesn't mean you shouldn't be the best you. So I hope that motherfucker still keep going, keep being the best version of themselves. Or learn to grow to love yourself. Like Trent, it's so amazing how something like an idea that simple could be so far out of reach for some people. You know what I mean? Like,
Oh, I know.
quote unquote, feeling like you're enough, and that's why that's why it's not even about being repetitive or anything like that. But it's like you kind of almost have to express it each time, or try to sprinkle in a little bit of medicine in the candy of whatever you're doing, whether it's a podcast, whether it's music, because certain people, they just need a little bit of assistance. Sometimes because they're too proud to ask. Not that they're bad people, but it's just, no, I got this, until they get to a point where they don't got this, and you can't really just say you don't got this, because at that point it could be a too late situation, and then you're like, damn. So it's just being more aware sometimes to people who I guess have that mental ability, being more aware of the people around them, and hopefully seeing if any of their behavior changes, having those conversations, asking if they're okay, trying to check out their, not saying that they're going to receive it well, not saying that they're going to answer your questions, but at least ask if you love them, if they care about them,
Sorry, when we were talking about that, just reminded me. I talked to the guy, one of the wrestlers I interviewed, that Kyle, like almost on a daily basis, just sending like memes and shit to him. And the other day I was helping Alex move and all that, and I was just offline basically most of the day just because I was like doing that and dealing with issues around here. He messaged me at like 5-6 o'clock. He's like, this is weird, I haven't heard from you all day, just making sure everything's all good. And I was like, oh, that's like, it was just like, that's awesome that like I have that, but it's like at the same time it's just like, this is bizarre, like I'm fine, but like this just
no,
that's how it is, you know what I mean? It's just really cool because it's never been like that. Like, I don't know, never been like that before. It's like, hey, are you good? I haven't heard from you at all today. It's just like, yeah, sorry, just busy, sort of thing. But it just really caught me. It was just like, that's awesome though.
It's building that rapport and get to a point of you guys, if you guys, and that's why it's like quote unquote friends, so to speak. Like, the more people who you have that genuinely care about you and don't necessarily have something they're trying to get from you, like they're not trying to gain things from you, bro, that's one of the most awesome relationships that people can have. And like in recent times, it's like I've been connecting with more of those types of people than some of the people who I've had in my life, like super long term. And it's not about taking a shot or making it seem negative. It's just, it's different, bro, because they have like those like little memes or whatever on Facebook where it's like, oh, and it's true, but when it's like, oh, like we might not have spoken 5 years, but we're still homies, and we know we're on good terms, and it's true. But at the same time, like, it shouldn't be a situation where you're not speaking in 5 years when you know dang well y'all got phones and all types of apps and all types of, you know what I mean, to make sure you're connecting and genuinely, if that's how you feel about a woman or some of the homies or whatever. But I don't know, it's just different sometimes, bro, because that checking in on people is so crucial, especially in these times where it seems people are more depressed and more quote unquote harmful to themselves and suicidal and unfortunately those types of things, right?
Yeah,
so
I agree, man.
It all kind of boils down to that, like making sure you're okay mentally, so that if you're that type of person, you can assist others mentally, or at least have like certain conversations, or try your best to not overstep boundaries, obviously, but at the same time, make sure your homies are good, or your girl's good, or your husband's good, or you know what I mean, like however you look at life. Like, I'm telling you, bro, like it can't be a situation where you're trying to give energy and it's not, like you were saying earlier, it's not being reciprocated, because unfortunately some people are energy vampires and they'll just take everything until you don't have nothing left. You just drained and shit.
Oh yes.
You're trying to avoid that, but you know, just my two
Well,
pennies, as you
yeah,
know.
I agree. And the only thing I want to add to that is just definitely, even if it's like no one's reaching out to you, you can always reach out to someone else. Like there's always like, if it's not even like a homie or if not anything like that, like helplines and all that, like they saved my life a few times. So like there's something to like, there's always someone there. Like, so reach out. And I said this like a long time ago, but it needs to be keep said like, like
Yeah, bro, what do you
consistently.
mean? Yeah,
Like honestly, like it really is like it, you just reach out like frankly to anybody, like anybody you can.
well, bro. With that being said, that it's that's wise words. Make sure you reach out if you have to. But I don't know if it's a matter of, and like if it's a matter of not being sure or being nervous, or you know what I mean, like not wanting to, maybe try to start with like a family member, even if you don't want to talk about everything. Just if you have a family member who you trust enough to say X, Y, and Z to, just give them a little tidbit of information and just say, hey, I'm not fully ready to share, but this, and this might be going on. Where can we start, kind of thing, as far as trying to get help. It's just baby steps, like I was saying, baby steps of because once you get to that full on strides and full on, oh shoot, we running now, then at that point, like you have control of your life, you're not stressing shit. It's different, right?
I agree, man. It's
That's what we're
night,
trying to do.
it's almost night and day difference. Like it really
Yeah,
is. Like everyone has bad days, you'll always have your
yeah,
bad days, but like
yeah.
man, like from where I am now to where I was like 2015, that era, like whoo, night and fucking day, dude. I have like a diary from that era, from one of my like darkest times. And I'm so glad like I have it just to like look back and go like, wow, like this is where I am now. And I'm happy that I'm here now.
Or that's what it is, man.
Grateful, just grateful for what I have and where I came from, where I've come.
Hey, like J. Cole was saying, there's beauty in the struggle, and I'm saying there's beauty in the growth. You know what I mean?
Amen.
Don't ever let these people bring you down. You know what I mean? Like just try your best not to ever let no one bring you down, and bring yourself up. On that Tupac shit, be that rose that grew from the concrete against all odds, baby. But yo, if you don't really have nothing else that you wanna, or do you have anything else that you was trying to drop into the? All right, well,
Got
shit.
nothing else,
All
man.
right, we can trip, because I know it was a busy day. You was out and about, and
I
same
still
same.
got things I got to do after
That's
this.
what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. So that's why I was just in and out like a robbery, trying to do a little quick little 1-2, talk to the people, just in and out like a
Love it.
robbery. Ain't nobody seen nothing, right? But everything
Nope.
gone. But no, all right. With that being said, my name is Graham.
I'm Trent.
And this is another episode of Ultra Fly Talk. Yo, we appreciate y'all rocking with us. It's just a matter of trying to say our perspective, or drop our little gems, and hopefully somebody pick them up. It is what it is. Peace to the people.